In this video, we're going to talk about spill equipment, what it is, how it works on land, on sea, and how you might use it in environmental management. G'day Brett, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
So let's talk about environmental equipment. Let's start super big picture. What are we talking about here?
Spill control equipment, we're talking about chemical spills, we're talking about hazcam spills, we're talking about spills in the water and sea and oceans and on land.
So this is, I want to say Exxon Valdez, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, we deal with everything from the Exxon Valdez back to small scale, a 20-litre spill in a workshop.
Okay, cool. Now, I understand from the gossip that I've heard that when a spill happens, land or sea, there's a sort of period of time where you kind of really got to jump on this stuff. Talk me through that.
Absolutely. The first 30 minutes to an hour is critical. So you've got to have the equipment on site ready to go, and you've also got to have trained people ready to go.
Because I imagine it's actually not necessarily self-evident what you're meant to do. If you're looking at a spill kit or spill equipment, and I want to say you crack it open because something spilled, you probably want to have looked at it before then.
Absolutely. That's why training's essential. Mm-hmm. So your crew should be trained and ready to go.
Let's talk about some of the big things that happen on land first. What are some of the common scenarios and places where you guys have spill equipment deployed around the place?
Okay, we go from workshops to military bases to industries. Spills on land. The main thing is it doesn't get into a drain. If it gets into a drain, it gets into your waterways, it gets into your river, you've got a problem. So you've got to contain it, you've got to contain it quick, and you've got to keep it on site. You keep it on site, you can do the clean-up yourself. Mm-hmm. You do it quickly. As I said, if you've got the right equipment, the right products on board, and if you've also got your training ready to go, you're ahead of the game.
And there's legislation here, by the way, isn't there? I mean, this is stuff you actually have to have.
Yes, yeah. That's why if you keep it on site, the EPA doesn't get involved if you've done the right thing. Mm-hmm. You've cleaned it up, your guys have been trained, they know exactly what they're doing. Mm. Then you contact the EPA and say, look, we've had a spill, but we've contained it, we've got the right equipment on deck ready to go, guys have fixed it up, everybody's happy. Talking
of on deck, we're talking about at sea as well. Talk to me about some of the marine spills we should be thinking about.
Okay, again, it can go from a very small spill to a huge spill. Mm. The Montara in Gulf of Mexico was one of the largest ones. Mm. Some of our equipment was used in that.
Is that right?
But it can go from a small spill into a waterway, or it can be very large. So again, the first hour is critical. Mm. Guys have got to be trained, they've got to know what they're doing, they've got to have the right equipment.
Okay, we've spoken about land, we've spoken about sea, and we're talking about spills. We haven't actually said what we're spilling. What are we talking about?
Okay, it's mainly hydrocarbons, oils. So you can have a chemical spill. A chemical spill, if it happens on land, it can be contained. If it happens on sea, it emulsifies into water, whereas hydrocarbons float on top of the water so they can be cleaned up. Mm. So a hydrocarbon spill, as long as you get to it quickly, it'll float onto the water, and then you've got three attacks: mechanical, dispersant, or in situ burning. So there's three ways you can deal with a spill at sea.
I like the sound of the last one, light something that appeals to the arsonist.
The in situ burning, yes.
Everybody. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the systems. Are the systems similar on land at sea? Is it something completely different? What are we talking about here?
No, they're fairly different. On land, you use a pad or a boom, you contain it, you can clean it up. At sea, you need a boom to contain it because you've got currents, you've got wave action, you've got water flow. So you've got to contain it initially, make sure it's not going any further. Once you contained it, then you can work out the best way to clean it. So I said, be it mechanical or dispersant or in situ burning.
You've been around this for a little while. You've been supplying this kind of spill equipment to industry for quite a long time. Give me an example, anecdotally, of what actually happens when the rubber meets the road. Give me a story of a spill and what was done to actually fix the problem. Okay,
in a large spill at sea, there's panic initially. The first thing you've got to do is contain it. You've got to make sure everybody's safe as well. But it's all hands on deck. Plus you'll need help. So you've got to have a system in place where you can call for help, get as many people around. If it's a tier 2 or tier 3 offence, you've got to get someone happening.
What do the tiers mean?
Tier 1 you can deal with yourself. Tier 2, you need help from your neighbours. It might be another oil company down the road, or it might be another well that's around that can. Tier 3, you call the government. That's a big one, and that's help. Everybody please come.
And
So that's the difference in the tiers.
Try to keep the newspaper away.
Try to, if possible.
All right, good. So look, we've spoken about a lot of different kinds of spills here, land, marine environments and so on. You've spoken about different industries. Tell me something that's kind of quirky and interesting that's happened over the course of the years. What's that odd spill that people just don't think about and weren't prepared for?
Condensate spills. We've dealt with New Guinea, a condensate spill. A condensate is a gas, but they move it in a liquefied form. If that spills onto the water, it's got to be cleaned up very quickly, but it dissipates very quickly as well. So it's something that people don't think about as being can spill, but it does happen.
All right, look, it seems like there is a lot to know, a lot of detail, probably more than we can cover in one video. We've got more to come. For those of you who'd like to find out more and particularly figure out what applies to your situation, please visit us online at bulbeckenviro.com.au. That's B-U-L-B-E-C-K enviro.com.au. Please feel free to email us, give us a call. I'm sure we'd be happy to answer all of your detailed questions.